4 times each day, live and in color.
Check 50 years together.
Good evening from the CHEK News Studios. This camera isn't a prop. It was used to film countless TV shows over the years, part of CHEK's long history on Vancouver Island. The station itself began making news in 2009 when it was slated to close. But staff and the community wouldn't let that happen. We weren't going down without a fight. This is our story. It was a different time, a different era.
Love me tender, love me sweet.
1956, Elvis Presley appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show for the first time. Norma Jean changed her name to Marilyn Monroe. And in June of that year, construction started on a new TV station in the capital of BC.
It was on this day back in 1956 when CHEK Television went on the air.
The date, December 1st. Dave Armstrong acquired the license for the new studio on Epsom Drive in Saanich. The station's call letters were originally CKTV, but Charlie White, co-founder and the first general manager, changed that.
You had to have CH, CJ, or CK. In those days, everyone just had a bunch of letters. They didn't make a word. And I thought, wow, CHEK, CHEK, and it had a great promotional possibilities. Check mark for good entertainment, write your check for good television. I had lots of things like that.
And the first person on the air was Graham Thompson.
The one thing that I recall most was that I was in a blind panic.
Do you remember by chance what the top story of December the 1st, 1956 was for the 10 o'clock news?
It was a recap of the official signing on of the station.
News wasn't the only show CHEK TV produced, and staff were expected to do it all.
If you were on the air at one point, you might run a camera, or you might run a boom microphone, you might do the lighting and the grid, or you might be the board announcer in the booth, or you might be Mr. Music and do the audio.
The Arda Clarkson Show debuted in 1962. It was live television at its best.
I can remember doing an interview with a bear sitting beside me.
A real live bear?
A real live bear. There was a circus in town or something, and I've had an octopus in a kid's wading pool, and I've had owls flying around the studio. And
even the commercials were done live, and it didn't always go smoothly, especially for Andy Stephen trying to sell a lawnmower.
And I went over and I opened up the gas tank. It was empty. So I went over and I got a can of gasoline. I walked off the set behind the curtain in our old storage room, got some gasoline, filled the tank up, put the cap back on the gas tank. Boom! One roar. They sold every lawnmower after that performance.
Many on the island remember Club 6, an extremely popular dance show.
It was a showcase of young Victoria teenagers. You had to be 13 and you could get in the door upwards of 18 or 19 if you so desired. Membership was over 15,000. But all in all, it was just a fun time for the kids.
The music wasn't just on Club 6. It started in the early morning with Daybreak, a music show that promoted Vancouver Island and Lower Mainland entertainers, hosted by Bruce Payne.
By far, CHEK is the place that has the fondest memories for me. I like the people, I liked what I was doing, I enjoyed myself tremendously, and it was just a great place to work.
4 times each day, live and in color.
Probably the biggest change at the station, the introduction of the Vancouver Island News Hour.
We blazed a trail here in Victoria.
Andy Stephen was one of the first news anchors, and another cub reporter started that year.
I came here in October of 1972. Mike Adamson came over from CKDA and took me with him, and we started the newsroom, the CHEK newsroom, which has been running since then.
Longtime CHEK photographer Alan Walton also started in 1972. Together, Alan and BK, as he's known in the newsroom, became the news themselves.
And in Nanaimo, we were shot at.
Pulled into the Moby Dick Motel. And
guy on the balcony, a high-powered rifle, shot right through the front windshield of the van, right through the right front seat.
So we called the police, and they were able to trace up, the shot and go right to the room and arrested this guy. Yeah, so we had a news story.
You've never looked better, everyone can see.
While we've always been your source for island news, CHEK also produced countless other shows over the years.
Daily Edition with Bev Sinclair and John Stanton.
On this episode of BC Business Spotlight, we examine home-based business.
The best there are, they are among us.
Doing good, you guys. Don't stop now.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
CHEK outgrew the original building on Epsom Drive, which led to a move in 1984 to our current location on Kings Road in Victoria.
You can't step into somebody else's skin and expect it to feel comfortable. There had to be changes made around here. Lots of changes.
It was originally built for the CBC, who never moved in, but the red exterior was painted BCTV blue because we were now a CTV affiliate.
Live from Vancouver Island, British Columbia Television proudly welcomes you to the official opening ceremonies of CHEK Television in Victoria.
But the ribbon is now being cut, and he has now declared the building officially open.
CHEK 6.
With the new building came a parade of talent.
Good evening. The provincial government took action today.
We had stellar news anchors. Journalists saw CHEK TV as a great training ground. Many have moved on to larger markets in Canada, US, and abroad. There have been many changes throughout the years, different logos and different affiliations.
CH News, every day bringing your news closer to home.
By the time CHEK celebrated our 50th anniversary, CanWest Global had purchased the station and renamed us CH Vancouver Island.
50 years together.
But we were always CHEK at heart, and the island wanted our name back. So CHEK News relaunched in the fall of 2008.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Ratings kept us at #1, the station proving its worth to Vancouver Island. But CanWest had other ideas that could have led CHEK News to fade to black. Coming up, the decision, the outrage, and the aftermath. How employees and islanders fought to keep CHEK News on the air.